Hello and welcome to the One Degree Show. I am your host, ELLAMAE, and join me as we talk to elite entrepreneurs about the one connection, the one person that changed the trajectory of their business and their life. Let's get into it. All right. Welcome to the One Degree Show. I am here with the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Darren Monroe. Guys, this cat's really interesting. I'm not going to lie. I was pulling his bio and everything, getting ready for this. He has a 30-year marketing history working for iconic music and film companies, Universal, DreamWorks, Motown. He's worked with artists like Eminem, Jay-Z, Nelly Furtado, The Roots, Mary J. Blige, Limp Bizkit, and also marketed over $6 billion in films, including Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, Star Trek, Fast and Furious, Shrek, and Erin Brockovich. He launched his online business in 2005. He's been rocking it ever since. Mr. Darren Monroe, thank you for being here.
Hey, thank you for having me. I'm going to move the laptop around here, so forgive me as I'm moving stuff around, but I'm here. Hello, thank you for having me. Yeah.
I love it. Okay, well, I mean, obviously you have an extensive history in marketing, especially, and you've done a lot with the entertainment industry. Tell us a little bit about how you got to where you are now.
Oh, that's interesting. Short version of that is this. I was working for Universal, DreamWorks, MCA, Sony, Warner Brothers. Well, here's what happened. I was working as the lifestyle person. Last one, I was working at Lifestyle Marketing here in Chicago. Okay. And next thing you know, they started firing people because of the digital issue. And sure enough, digital issue meaning everything was going digital and losing money. They didn't listen to anybody about the digital divide that was going to happen. Basically, Web 1.0 was here, deep and in effect. So I went over to radio and worked as the assistant director of promotions for 3 radio stations under Clear Channel Radio, now known as iHeartMedia. Ooh, la-di-da, iHeartMedia. So basically, I ended up doing that. By the way, if I drop out, please don't panic. I'm going to come back because sometimes the construction people in my building, they'll shut stuff off, Ella. So I apologize. Let me just let you know that. So you're like, what happened today?
It's the first snowstorm in Chicago, apparently, today.
Yeah.
And there's construction, and it's a whole thing.
It's a little bit of everything going on today in Chi-Town. So yeah. So anyway, I went down to New Orleans to work in radio a couple of years, and then all of a sudden Hurricane Katrina showed up, and I don't know about you, but I'm allergic to dying, so I decided maybe it'd be best that I be in Texas, and I ended up in Texas. Yeehaw! I launched websites from a FEMA paid for hotel. Everybody's like, "You're going back to radio?" I'm like, "No, I got 3 different offers and jobs in radio. I wasn't gonna go back." So I started launching websites, doing entertainment, film stuff, covering music, covering all sorts of cool. So I was having a lot of fun. And next thing you know, I ended up with Bob Proctor, who's in this picture over here. Bob Proctor was like, "Darren, you ought to teach people how to do that." And I was like, "Really? Okay, that's an idea." And then that's when I got into teaching people about branding and how to monetize in easy ways and marketing and stuff, because I was already doing it, but it was like, I was doing it for like niche-based sites, like, film review sites, and for music. I used to run a 24-hour neo-soul music station, all sorts of cool stuff. Right. And then people were asking, they were like, "Well, how did you start a site? How do you market yourself?" And that's when I started training people back in 2010. At that point, it had been 5 years, and started from there. And from there on, the journey got interesting. I really do a lot of, trying to show people how do you stand out from everybody else. And so you don't look like everybody else. So you don't have to compete. You can contrast. And then what's the simplest ways for people to give you money without making this a big deal and trying to, if you don't know a lot of copy and copywriting, like you and I have been in these copy rooms, and even like Paris, big up to Paris and to who's that, Julian Bond. It's like, you're talking with these guys, but the way I talk with them is different, because what I ended up doing was just asking questions, because I know that new people don't know a lot of stuff about copy. So what's the simplest way you can do business? And this is how I ended up on this whole journey and meeting a bunch of incredible people.
That's really cool. I actually go through the Clubhouse app. Is there an echo on your?
Say again.
Do you hear an echo?
No, I don't.
Oh, weird.
That's just the FBI. It's okay. It's okay. You know, we were talking about moving those 5 pounds of yayo before we got on here live, everyone, and they decided to tune in to our yayo selling thing. No, there's no echo on this end, but
okay. I switched my microphone. I think I fixed it.
It's probably my voice, my godly voice, coming through to you.
I mean, what else could it be? It's insane, right? It's just the depth of your voice. Yeah, no. What Darren was saying. So Darren and I actually connected on Clubhouse back in February, March of 2020. And it was a really cool time. Like, there was a lot of us on Clubhouse, a lot of us within different industries, and we all kind of knew one person who knew one person and ended up in a room together. And a lot of us became really close friends over that. But what's cool though is you have a very different marketing history than a lot of the copywriters, the traditional digital marketers, like the traditional people. Like, I don't know anybody else who was doing the type of entertainment marketing you were doing. And now you've really taken your skills over to TikTok. So talk to us about TikTok. Why are you excited about it? What's it done for your business?
Well, here's the interesting thing with that connection, to give you a connection to that. Clubhouse was a connection to TikTok. I knew TikTok existed, but all these TikTok people kept getting in Clubhouse talking about TikTok, which I thought was interesting.
Right.
Since 2010 on, most of the business I've ever done was with small businesses. So it's not necessarily people in entertainment and the artistry anymore, as much as I give them advice and stuff, but I work with a lot of small businesses or smaller corporations that are doing under 10 million a year. And what's really interesting about that is I got on Clubhouse and they're like, everybody's like, get on TikTok. You'd be great on TikTok. And I'm like, okay, great. So I finally, him and Hall was running the business. So I didn't really get into trying to do TikTok till August. August came up and man, I can know around July, that summer of 2021, I started testing around. I put together an account on August, and inside of 30 days, I had like 20,000 followers or something. And all I've been talking about is TikTok branding tips. That's why I call it that, TikTok branding tips, and talking about ways you can stand out from 100% of everybody else, how you don't have to compete. You can contrast. That way you can contrast, you last. The other things that, I began to talk about was apparently what other people aren't talking about. When they're talking about branding, they're usually talking about websites and logos. I'm anti-websites and logos. I'm anti-funnels. I'm anti-challenges and product launches. I'm the person telling you, listen, get intimate and close with your clientele and with your prospects, and you're going to sell. So I got in on TikTok talking that. They loved the videos. Next thing you know, people were reaching out and booking time and connecting with me who had more followers than I ever had. And I kind of regret it in the sense that I didn't go earlier, because they were telling me that, Ella, since even before I met you, when I got on Clubhouse around January of 2020. And I think to myself, man, I lost about 7 months. I could have done a lot of business if I just listened to them and just went out and did it. And TikTok's still in the early stages, everyone. So just in case you're thinking, well, is it too late for me? Nope, it's not. It's not. It's very much still an early thing. It's like what I tell everybody in crypto. First time I had a chance to buy crypto, Bitcoin at $1 was back in 2011. I thought it was a scam, but apparently it wasn't a scam. And, didn't get the kid. Don't laugh at me too hard, everyone. But yeah, it was one of those things where I had a chance to get that early. And I always tell people crypto's early, metaverse is early, NFTs is early, and TikTok is still very, very early. It's the most organic social media out there. No offense to everybody else. LinkedIn is a close second. YouTube Shorts, they're really trying to go hard because they got a new algorithm. I don't know if you heard about that. There's a big, big rumor about them getting ready to change up some algorithms to make it so even more people can see your videos. And they're stepping up because TikTok right now is bigger than Google as far as some traffic things. So yeah, it's not just, and no, everybody's not just dancing on there. I have yet to dance on there, Ellen. And I've yet to do my singing on there at all. And any of that, it's just, and I'm not doing any of the trends. I'm just getting on there, turning on the phone, just like this, and going, hey, blah, 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 boom, and I'm done. And I just tell them truth inside of, anywhere from 7 to 60 seconds at the most, and people love it, and you just say real stuff with them.
I mean, I love it. And I think, first of all, that's big news with YouTube potentially changing their algorithm. Google doesn't make algorithm changes often, like twice a decade type thing.
Yes.
So that's really, Google owns YouTube. So that's really interesting. And yeah, TikTok, I think it's at the point now where you can't really ignore it. Like, it's a beast. It's not just kids dancing anymore. There's a lot of killer content on there. I'm going to post, if you search Darren Monroe in TikTok, you'll find him. He's at TikTok Branding Tips, right?
Yeah, I actually have, you'll see about 3 TikToks there, but the one with like 40-something thousand people, that's me. And then the other ones are me. But what I did is I made a mistake and started a business account. The business account doesn't grow as much. You want to have a personal account. Oh, okay. Everybody was telling me that, but you kind of got overwhelmed with all the TikTok information. I forgot and tried to run a business account. When I realized that wasn't working, I grew maybe 600. I stopped that account and started running a personal account. And that's what people in the past called a creator's account. Now they only have 2 accounts. There's personal and there's business. Go to personal, and because you'll grow more. And I stopped it, the 600 grew more, starting on August 8th, all right, 8/21. By August 19th, I had a viral video out there, thousands of views. And next thing you know, we're talking about, I had 20,000 by September followers. So, yeah.
I mean, TikTok, okay, that's awesome. I'm going to post the link to Darren's TikTok. I'll put it in the comments. I know we're live in like a bunch of places right now. I'll put it in the comments so you guys can check out his TikTok. But so this is really interesting because, yeah, TikTok's a beast. I don't think anybody can really ignore it anymore. And there's a lot of people who are like, oh, shit, I got to get on this thing. Like, I got to do the damn thing.
Yep.
And I don't know what to do. And like, well, I'll tell you, like, okay, I don't even watch TV anymore, dude. Like, I just scroll TikTok. Like, I love TikTok. So I obviously need to be doing more creating, not just consuming. That's a conversation for another day. But it's dope. And the creators on there, some of the creators, holy shit, like what they are doing to produce incredible videos, like it's a little intimidating, right? So yeah. So this is my question. So where do you think people should start with this? Do you have a call? You got to take a call?
No. I'm holding up the phone to say this. Okay. Everybody understand this. I know you see the videos and people coming across great and doing everything. That's not what matters. No one cares. I have a client I took from 0 to like 30,000 followers, even when I didn't have 30,000 followers yet, because she spoke her heart as, I'm not going to mention her niche. It wasn't anything marketing or anything. It was a personal niche and people really respect. It was in relationships. I'll just say it like that. And it went viral. It went crazy. This is not a marketing person. And the idea is people are looking for people to relate to people on this freaking phone. And that if you can turn on the phone and say real stuff and real stuff, I don't know if I can cuss on it. So that's why I'm trying to keep it nice because I got a potty mouth. Real stuff. Huh?
You can cuss.
Oh, hell yeah. No,
hell yeah.
Basically, no, if you can turn on and say real shit, guys, here's where you're going to really blow up and do well. Because people are looking for real people. This is how you beat the big guru. You may have gurus out there in your area who have big names. That doesn't even matter. The real secret is intimacy. So the first thing you want to do is stop worrying about the fancy videos. I have all types of videos, as you'll see on my channel. But the ones that really did well were ones when I just held this phone up and I said, listen, let me tell you something real. And that's where it blew up. And what I'm saying to you is your ability to be intimate, to be real. We hear that word across when we were in Clubhouse. You always hear authentic. Let me tell you what authentic is. That's telling people real stuff, even though it's embarrassing, even though it's exposing you some. I don't have them around me right now. I wish I had them. I have videos where I have my thick glasses because I was born with cataracts. And so I'm wearing contacts now. But it's like I have my thick glasses and I tell them, listen, normal don't work. Normal ain't normal. So I'm telling them real stuff. If you can tell people real stuff. So it's not just you talking about your products and services. It's about you talking about your lifestyle. It's about you talking about the mentality behind what people are going through. It's the coolest things. So if you're real, let me give you an example. There's a guy right now who does these cool things. He goes up to coffee shops and says interesting names because they always ask for the names to call out after they got your coffee ready. So he'll say something funny out there, like, what's your name? Oh, my name's Neil. Need. Oh, okay, Need. What's your last name? Moorhead. So she'd get the coffee and she's like, Need Moorhead. And then she's like, oh my goodness. And they catch you on camera and they're laughing. Now, you might say, okay, that's funny stuff. What's that got to do with money? This kid is a singer. He sings pretty well. And he's got his songs going and people, he's got tens of thousands of listens on his Spotify. But what I want you to understand is that he's talking about the lifestyle and the comedy and the fun. There's another person doing something similar in that sense, where he is not so much comedy. He's on a cruise ship. And I don't know if I told you this in our private talks, but I made a commitment saying I'm going to do 3 months to a year on a cruise ship. And the thing is, this guy, his name's Michael. He's brilliant. He's like the Royal Caribbean, one of the top 3 biggest cruise ships, and he's doing TikToks on them. And he sings really well. I'm just really, just blown away. Not mediocre at all. Just really well. And the guy is doing TikToks, and people even on the cruise ship begin to see him from TikTok. And he's got a couple 100,000 followers. Now, what does he do? He's a musician. So does he have a Spotify and all of that? Sure. He has, those things that musicians would have. But great. Here's another thing. People are looking for the lifestyle, the use of your product. So there's another lady who sells a thing called body butter, a form of lotion. And she has this great site where on her TikTok, she's showing the different makings of the lotions and how the lotions work. It's not fancy videos. It's not fancy editing. You know what I use? I use InShot. InShot is like $16-17 a year. It's fantastic. And you basically can edit your videos, edit your images. You know what people want? They want what they want. So when you start to open up your videos, start talking about what them, not me. So you don't hear me talking about me on there. You hear me talking about, hey, I got something for you to do. You. It's all about them. So get into them. Get into simple videos. It don't have to be super fancy videos. InShot is the most fanciest you can be. And I'm telling you, the most fanciest videos I've ever had aren't the ones that even got a lot of views. The ones that really got a lot of views is when I said real stuff and I talked about real subjects. I just did a 4-part video to the fashion industry about how to brand and market yourself on fashion and whip the butts of all the luxury brands. They loved it. I mean, the point is talk real. Hopefully I didn't over-explain that.
No, that was
great.
What's going on with my microphone? I don't know. I'm hearing.
I can hear you fine. I'm no echoes or anything.
So strange. Whatever. As long as it's good for you. But no, that's a really good point with just talking straight. And like, what do you? So, but you also talk about another really good point in terms of talk, and I want to double click on this in terms of talk about them. Don't talk about you, talk about them.
Yeah.
Because so much of the time we go into we're neatly selfish creatures, put it into our DNA, right? Mm-hmm. So we'll go into I went through this time, or here's how I got out of it. Here's how I changed my life or met my person or changed my business or what the fuck ever. And it's cool, but your audience doesn't care about you. So how do you, because you do this really well. So how do you do this where you take something that maybe it's a personal experience, whatever. How do you morph it into something that is directly for your viewer?
Excellent question. I'll give you some content ideas right here. First of all, it is okay, by the way, everyone, to talk about yourself and talk about it, but relate it back to them. There are several types of stories you can tell. You can tell the hero discovery story where, hey, I had this challenge. I saw what everybody else was doing in the marketplace, but I ended up doing this, which was totally different. And this is how you reach me to get that. That's one story. There's another story that talks about how you went through the journey of actually being and where you went through. Like I said earlier, how I went through going from Universal and all these companies to working in New Orleans to fleeing a hurricane and starting from a FEMA paid for hotel and talking to Bob Proctor saying, Darren, you should do this. You can tell them that. Why? Because you're being transparent. You're telling them, you're giving them more of the 3D of who you actually are instead of somebody made up on the internet. The other thing that you can do as far as content is talk about the lifestyle of using your products and programs and services. So I talk about the lifestyle of what does it mean to have a brand in this world, and what does it mean to go to the store. So I went to the store, a place called DX for the Big Brothers, and did this cool review of their store, which was really nice, and people liked it. And it kind of gave you, oh, wow, he's out and about. He's a person, and he's doing cool stuff, which is cool. I also like to go to grocery stores. I'm a marketer to the heart. So when I go to a grocery store or restaurant, I'm really geeked out about it because I always see great ideas, because they're always testing great ideas for sale. So I'm always, doing a video of a store like, wow, why are they charging more for these bananas? Oh, it's organic. That's $1 billion word. Or, hey, why are they doing this for grass-fed? Grass-fed always made me laugh because it's like, okay, grass-fed before you cut it up in a million pieces and put it on a plate. Okay, it's grass-fed. We treated it humanely until we didn't, but grass-fed out there, you put it on grass-fed. Ooh, grass-fed. So, basically, I'm telling these stories. Then I'm telling stories. You can tell stories about times in your life. So I have some plaques up here, and these are company plaques. They're not RIAA. Some people every now and then see these plaques. They go, those aren't RIAA. They're phony. I'm like, no, it's company plaques. So I tell stories sometimes behind different albums, like Erykah Badu's album, or on 911. When it was the 20th anniversary of that, I did a video talking about how Jay-Z's Blueprint album came out, and I was working that and telling stories about that. So it's content in different pieces of your life. Well, I'm telling the story about the lady in the elevator whose son is 45 fighting cancer, and how grateful I am not to have cancer or not to have these things, and how, you talk about the small problems that that you think you're having problems until you discover somebody's really having problems. So in other words, look at this. We've talked about different stories about yourself, but to relate back to people. You talked about your products and services. You talked about the lifestyle of using your products and services that are out there. You've also talked about, and this is important, this is where the branding part come in. A brand is a promise, pledge, commitment. It's what you stand for and stand against. It's not about websites and logos. Fuck that. It's not about that. Fuck that shit, okay? Here's the real thing what a brand is. Branding is all about you becoming the only emotional solution. Now, what does that mean? That means think about your doctor. There's doctors and then there's your doctors, because you're not going to mess with anybody but your doctor. It's all about your doctor. So how does that person do that? Intimacy, conversation, direct relation. You got to talk to somebody before they put hands on you, right? How do you do that in a brand on TikTok or anywhere else? Well, the first thing you can do is start talking to them about the conversation that's already happening in your industry. So in other words, you're talking about the elephants in the room. That's the first thing. You can also talk about the myths, the misconceptions that are happening in your industry. You talk about that via TikTok and everywhere else other on social media. You're absolutely able to stand out. Here's the trick, though. You're calling out the bullshit, not the bull. It's not about trying to go after people for two reasons. One, you might get sued. You don't want that. And two, let's say you don't get sued and you are calling out these people. Well, we live in a time now with this whole cancel culture that the people who are absolutely scams and might be full of shit that you're calling out, you could victimize them and people go over and start listening to them and start looking against you. You don't want to do that. Just avoid all of that. The best way, you want it centered on you and what you're saying to them. You're saying, listen, in this industry, I'm saying, for instance, in this industry, logos, websites, and funnels are nice things to have and absolutely use, but they're not going to make you stand out from 100% of your competition, and it's not branding. Don't do that if you're trying to do it for branding, because branding is not about your look. It's about how you make people feel. Number one, emotional solution. Then I'm talking about things like goals and purpose. What's the goal and purpose of your product and service that you can talk about in your content? There's tons of content things that you can do that you hadn't thought about, that you can speak about. Now, here's the weird thing. I didn't say this earlier about stories. I talked about the hero's journey, how they had a problem and you had a problem and everybody was solving it, and here's my difference. Then I talked about the story about how you got to where you are. But there's a third story that's a secret that most people don't know about. I saw Frank Kern do this years ago, and it was brilliant. And anybody can do this, and it's brilliant. Talk about stories that have nothing to do with your product, program, services, or what you're selling. The biggest, after you get 1,000 followers on TikTok, you gotta have 1,000 followers, you can go live on TikTok. I went live on TikTok. One of the few first times I went live on TikTok, Bank of America was having a marathon. I live right here downtown Chicago, right next to the Chicago Riverwalk, and they were jogging across the bridge. It was a Saturday morning, and I turned on my live camera, and guess what? I had like 200-300 people who were on there live with me. Usually I might have at the most 20, 30, 50, whatever. I had 200-300 people who were watching the run across the bridge. Did that have anything to do with me, product, services, and no? But did I get followers from it? Yeah. People liked it. People liked the human element. Or the time I was out there with the lady who sold lotions and bath salts right next to the Sheraton Grand, and we were sitting there talking and doing a video and just talking about her offers and her services. You know, it didn't really directly have anything to do with me, but it was funny and people liked it and enjoyed it. That's why TikToks are blowing up on funny stuff. I just saw something one of my clients got 196,000 views on, and he was talking about something that directly related to comedy, but it was kind of a comedy thing. And her client, it wasn't her, it was her son who got 196,000 views. He's 14. I mean, people are looking at the human element. You say you like watching the videos. Think about all the videos you probably shared. Me and my cousin Joni are sharing videos back and forth all the time. Stuff that's funny, the human element. It's not your attempt to be funny. It's your attempt to have a human element connection with people that's going to make the difference in any of you making any money. Because you're going to have those stone cold call to actions and stuff, but it's the real element that they see. Think about your favorite TV shows and all the episodes in there. There's a wide range of human element that people grow onto.
Okay, so you said something really important in there. And this is really what Darren does when it comes to coaching people on this, is he doesn't just give you like, you know, a content plan and here's how it's going to be fluffy and cute. He's like, no, motherfucker, let's make some money. Like, let's monetize this, right? But come on, let's make it easy for people to pay you. So we all know, well, a lot of us know influencers with hundreds of thousands, millions of followers that are dead broke, right? So you touched on something really important there where you said actually making money. So what are some, like if someone actually, I think probably you might have a little bit of an advantage if you're starting TikTok or whatever after meeting Darren or after hearing this, because you're going to have a focus on monetization, because why wouldn't you? If you've got something good and you're helping people, why not use a social channel to bring people in that you can help, right?
Absolutely.
So when it comes to monetization, like what are the key things there?
First of all, the simplest answer to that is you want to make it easy for people to give you money.
Okay.
Now, there are different businesses out there. If you have a physical business, you want to make your site, let's say you have a Shopify site, make it easy where people can buy now. Do not send them to the homepage. Do not send them to the homepage. Send them directly to what you're talking about, and you'll get paid off of that, because they don't want to shop. They want to give you money. The difference is running around your site back and forth. They don't want to do that. They want to be able to get you immediately. That is the biggest thing. That's the first thing you got to do. How can you make it easy? And that's what I'm helping people do. Simplify the money process. Here's another thing. If you're doing physical products, what about intellectual property? Intellectual property means talent, skills, knowledge, experience. What can you turn into money? Here's the other thing that you can turn into money that a lot of people don't think about. You can turn your case study into money. Let's say, wow, Darren, I made only $30,000 this year, but that's $30,000 more than most people made in your industry. So I had a client who came in who does these 360 camera things that, you know, and you see the slow motion 360 and cool stuff. I say, okay, so she's over in Mississippi. But I'm like, baby, let me explain something to you. There are people, and she's done 5 figures this year, her first time out with her business. I say, listen, people will pay you money. Yes, people will pay you money. Yeah. They hear your case study from the Bay Area, LA, across to New York and overseas. See how you did that. They will give you money for that. You make that once and people end up paying you over and over again. So what's the process to that? Well, you know, let me put it to you like this. What's the easiest way to get some money? Well, let me tell you like this. The way that I would do it is I would use Calendly or something similar and have people book in a session and talk with you. I'm not trading time for money. I'm trading value for money. So people will speak to me for 20, 30 minutes. I'm not pitching them. I'm not doing all that. I'm just having a conversation with them. They'll at least walk away with a blueprint they can use for themselves if I never see them again. But there are some people I can work with long term, whether it be 90 days or longer, or for the whole year or 6 months, who I know are going to be doing great. And I would make an offer to them. If they're in, they're in. If they're out, they're out. That way you can make some money. Let's say you're a person. So if you're in the coaching world, this is perfect for you, right? Let's say you're not in the coaching world. Let's say, again, you're selling physical products or you're doing something like that. Send people directly to your site with what you're talking about on TikTok. I had a lady who's out of Dubai. I call her Nikki Dubai. She's super cool. And she sells women's active bras. And she basically has, active bras. But I said, well, what's the biggest thing that sells? Is it the active bras? She said, no, it's the leggings. So I said, well, what your link should show up in TikTok, and pay attention to it, should be directly to those leggings. Make it simple for people to go and buy from you. And here's the structure of you putting together a TikTok. In the first 3 seconds, you want to grab their attention. Boom. You want to be talking about them and them and them, not about you. Then you want to give them a reason, a hook that gets them on there. So I'm saying, hey, I'm Darren Monroe. Listen, I'm going to show you how to eliminate 100% of your competition in 7 days or less without ever competing on it. Sound sexy? Listen to me. And then I'm talking to them. And at the end, I'll say, follow me for tips. Or sometimes these days I say, follow me for truth. All right. But then book me for help. So the idea is there's a call to action on there that says you need to connect with me to connect and do business with me. So you're doing calls to actions within your videos. People in the comments are asking about it. You want to respond to comments and connect with them. In other words, you're making it the simplest thing ever for them to just click in your profile, no matter what social media, whether it be TikTok or otherwise, so they can, do business with you. Make it an easy experience for them. The easier you make it, the better you're going to make money. And here's the thing. Don't just send people to sales pages. Understand what the conversion rates are. Can I talk about conversion rates for a quick minute? Just give you an overview on that.
Yes.
Yeah, here's the deal. Conversion rates, guys. If you're going to a sales page, whether it be a video sales page, and yes, you should always have a video on the sales page. Video sales. We're about to go over to Web 3.0, but we're at 2.0. So don't just sit there and put a long sales page, all right? Put the video in there because it shows a person, even if you're not perfect, even if you feel like, oh man, I don't look great on video. Good. The more regular you look, the better. You don't have to be, and some of you might be thinking, I'm not a cute, cuddly black man. There's no way I can sell these things. Nobody's perfect. It's okay. You can go ahead and do the best you can. The idea is that you can get on there and just talk. I swear to God, I've seen some of the most bland videos in the world, and they did great. Why? Think about Mr. Rogers. Those of you who remember, look him up. Mr. Rogers. He was, hey, how you doing? I'm Mr. Rogers. Or Bob Ross. Really incredible person. The painter with the afro, white dude with the afro. He talked like this. Very nice. Or Captain Kangaroo. I know I'm really bringing out my age now. Point is that these were soft-spoken people who were introverts, who people loved and connected with. So don't think you have to be an extrovert or have the voice and all of that. The idea is that you're connecting. Now, in this sales page, you're going to, unfortunately, here's the truth, and all the salespeople and the copy people know I ain't lying, you're going to do 1 to 5%. If you're doing better than that, it's usually from somebody who's bought from you before on your list, who's seen you, warmed up to you. But 1 to 5%. And that's great. That's why I tell people in TikTok, don't put your sales page on there unless you're in e-commerce. If you're in the online world with digital properties and workshops and coachings, send them to Calendly and have them pay for it. Say put $20-$30 down there. It's no money. It'll show up. They'll show up 100% of the time when they put some money down. Everybody else is saying have a free consulting session. No. Put a little money in there that'll make you stand out, that'll give you a little more cred, and at the same time, the people will be showing up so you don't waste your time, and they'll take your time seriously, and you're coming in there with a blueprint. But here's another thing that happens. If you do make them an offer via phone, via Zoom, via in person, you're going to get a higher conversion. How much higher? Well, on webinars, they're doing 10% plus. If you're in a call-to-call like this, you could be doing 20-30% plus. Here's the thing, I believe. There's some people who do 60% plus. I don't want 60% plus because I'm not in the everyone business. I want some people who do say no and some people I say no to. You don't want to be in everybody business. You want the people who are going after who are the best fits for you. Hopefully you resonate and feel with that. But the idea is that you're going to take 10%, 20%, 30% plus if you're talking via video, if you're talking via phone, if you're talking via webinar, something in that. And that's why webinars work. But what works better than webinars is that one-on-one Zoom you're doing. You do that, you're going to kick butt, you're going to win. That's how you're going to win and get better sales. So how do you do that in TikTok? In TikTok, you're going to send them over to a Calendly and talk with you. If you're in, say, apparel or something where they would go and shop to, do a live. That's another thing. You want to convert? Now, I'll end that with that for you to go and ask more questions, Ella. But if you want to convert, well, go live when you get 1,000 people in there. And 1,000 people aren't hard when you post content. Post content 3 to 6 times a day. Inside of 30 to 60 days, you'll have 1,000 people, if not sooner. The record I have for a client is she got 1,000 people inside of 4 days. But then it could get 1,000 people really quickly, depending on your subject, your emotion, and your realness and transparency, and people relate and share it. But here's the thing I really want you to understand. What you're going to be doing is you're going to be connecting with people as much as possible on an intimate way that other people, the big name gurus, the big people won't. And you can do that via live. When you go live and they see you're real, I tell you, if you get on here and you start talking and they see you're real, when I'm getting on there, I'm talking about my favorite Netflix show, as well as training people. I'm talking about funny things that happened to me as a kid. You know, like the time I bumped my head playing Casper the Friendly Ghost, putting on a pillowcase and stuff. And they're all laughing, and I'm telling them funny stories. And what I'm saying to you is that you do that live, people going to love you and want to do business with you every step of the way. They will. That's how you convert. You send them just to a sales page, and it could be the best copy in the world. It could be the best copy in the world. It could be a great video and all of that stuff and fancy video. That's not what it's about. If you had a regular video, a nice copy, that's nice. But what you would rather do is send those people from a Zoom call over to that sales page, and you're going to convert more because they just talked to you. They're on there live on Zoom with you, and you will convert and get money out of it. So one, let's wrap that up, is that one, make it easy for people to give you money, whether you're in physical products or in digital. Two, keep it as simple as possible. The highest conversions you're going to get is the ones you're going to have more of the direct relation to. Three, if you go live on TikTok, there's a better chance for you to sell and talk to people and connect, and they see you real and they want to reach out to you. And last, one of the things you want to do is just keep consistent with it and just have a real conversation with it. You know, it's like cultivation. Who was that was talking about cultivation is Jim Rohn. Jim Rohn talks about that. It's just genius, cultivation, because we always talk about planting seeds, but not cultivating. And then being able to reap that harvest after you cultivate and work it. You got to work your craft. Anyway, to get more math. I'm sure you have other questions, or maybe I just talked to them.
No, this is awesome. And like you're so like with your friend who made the five figures before 5 figures in her first year. This is something I think that gets so lost in like the insane glamorization that entrepreneurship has gone through online. It's like we don't talk about how it took Warren Buffett 9 years to make his first $1 million, and he had a head start. Like he had some cash to start investing with, right? Like when you're first getting going with a business, a lot of the time people can feel like a failure if they don't have, their Lambos lined up by end of first. Yeah, and it's like that's such bullshit in the sense that for sure money. They say money doesn't make you happy. I kind of disagree. I think money is a big part of happiness, but there's for sure there's happiness money can bring, but there's a lot of happiness that progress can bring, and anything is going to take time to build. So I love that. And the other point that I really want to emphasize that you said is bringing people to a call. This is so online sales. We're like just preached, build a course, build a funnel, they'll, build it and they will come. Try it, try it and see.
Yeah, it's really kind of scary about that too, because what people figured out, everybody, is that there's more money in selling you the dream than actually helping you achieve it. So they give you this thing and then you end up missing. Well, why didn't I made this money? I went and followed the rules, just like going to college. I went to college, I didn't get the right job. I'm not happy still. What the hell happened? And there's a whole generation couple of generations of that, from the millennials to the Zs. They're like, what the fuck is happening to me? You know, it's like, because you were sold that bullshit. And here's the truth behind that. First of all, I believe money can buy you happiness, but it's through freedom. You're running a business so you can be freedom, so you can do what you want, when you want, where you want, however long you want, with whomever you want. I realize that money cannot save you from cancer or buy you tomorrow. That's not what we talk about when you say money happiness. It gives you a more enriched life. It gives you options to help your family, future generations, legacy wealth, and gives you opportunities to do what you want, when you want, where you want, wherever you want to go. And that's totally fine with that. And you're serving and you're helping people and you're not robbing them or doing anything weird. I also tell people that money may not buy you happiness, but you can cry like a motherfucker in Versace and Dom. It's okay. It's all right. You can work that out. So the point is that, yeah, it can buy you happiness, but what it's really buying in this business stuff you're doing is you're exchanging value for money. See, there are 3 levels of compensation. The first level, you're getting paid based on what 99% of the world is doing. You're trading time for money. You're trading that off. The second level is you're getting paid for what you do, the value you exchange with people. That's the powerful part when you have that workshop or you're enlightening people and talking to people. That's the power that you're helping them. Advice. You're giving them the value. If you sell fashions, having that hoodie they want, or the shoes, or whatever, or the active sports bra and everything, whatever it is. Now, the third level is reputation, but it's like your doctor. Right now, there's a doctor, Ella, over in Idaho that we don't know of. That's a pediatrician, or most likely is a podiatrist, a specialist, or orthopedics or something, and they're getting paid 6 figures or more because people trust them and they like them and they've connected with them. They're not Kanye, they're not Kim Kardashian, they're not famous, but they're famous among their groups. And if you're famous among your group. I said earlier that I worked at Sony and Warner Brothers, and they went on to become clients down the line because they heard from Universal and DreamWorks and Def Jam and Motown about what I was doing with them. So they came in and said, hey, we want this done with our projects too. The idea is that you can end up getting people to work with you through reputation, because people will bring you in and connect with you and like you and know, like, and trust you. And that's the real money. So, I mean, what I'm saying here is that, you can turn this into money and you can turn this into a level of happiness. But there are people out there who are selling the unrealistic expectations and trying to tell you, well, you can instantly do it overnight. And it's not an overnight thing. Sometimes it is. Sometimes you get a quick win, but you're going to understand that's a quick fucking win. That doesn't happen all the time, and that you need to get in the game and grind it out and do it. There's a lot of people who got into TikTok, for instance, who fell off and went and did other stuff or went and did other things because they didn't stick with it. And this is still the early stages of all this shit. And they realize there's, the future in it. Here's the great thing about TikTok, speaking of content creation. These videos that you create, unless you're teaching TikTok or something like that, you can use these videos for later on. I'm talking about branding and monetizing and marketing. I can talk about that and put these videos on my website. Or I can put these videos on Instagram and repurpose them on LinkedIn or on YouTube or on other places. So the idea is you're able to repurpose that content and be able to do business again. And that's the great part about it. So even if there isn't no TikTok 5-6 years from now, you still got great content. Now we're in the world of micro content. So you can develop those bit sizes of micro content from the ideas I've shared with you today.
I mean, you absolutely can. And just by using that strategy, because I worked with coaches a lot when I was getting going, of taking people, focusing on taking people to a call as opposed to a landing page. When I was first getting going, I got referred by people that never even worked with me, because I jumped on a call with them and I would help them with whatever, initially, whatever in that time slot, I'd help them with whatever I can. And maybe the timing wasn't right for us to work together, whatever. I don't care, right? But they're like, hey, I've got someone that you should really talk to. And I get referred. And it's like, this person never even actually worked with me. So it's if you took one thing from that, take that online sales are the hardest sales you're going to make, especially in the beginning. And it can be a lot more fruitful and actually save a lot of time to bring people to a call and use your content to do that.
There's one thing I want to come in and say that too, because I know a lot of you are scared to sell or you're afraid to do that.
Yeah.
And here's what I want you to understand. It's not about getting on that call trying to sell them. It's about serving them. In other words, being able to help people. You'll notice it's just like a relationship when you go on a date with somebody, you're like, yeah, I'm feeling you. I'm feeling you. And it's the good vibe and that good energy. You don't want to force that. The idea is you're having a conversation with them. Make them feel comfortable. There are a lot of people who are suffering from one of my friends calls them STDs, sales transmitted diseases. They get on these calls and they get in there and they say things like, they're afraid. They get up on there and you get somebody on the call and they'll be afraid to even talk to you because they think they're getting ready to get pitched and all this other stuff. And I say, just relax. Let's just talk. I don't know if I even like you. Laugh and talk, and it's like, it's not, and if they're in, they're in. If they're not, they're not. If I make an offer to them, and that's the cool part about it. So going into what you just said is like, don't get on there trying to sell people. Just get in there and serve people. But it's a balance. It's a balance of feminine and masculine. The feminine part is the compassion and the nurturing and being able to help. The masculine part is, are you going to fucking make a decision to do something with your life, or just what do you know? Let's make a hardcore decision. And it's not necessarily a decision to buy anything from me. There's people I tell them, listen, I've just given you some hardcore information. I really don't want to work with you. But are you really going to use this? Because here's the thing. We both spend time that we can never get back. And if you do something with this, it could be a life-changing thing. You need to go and do this and make these roads and these steps. So there's a masculine and feminine to it, but you got to get comfortable with just talking with people. Don't worry about the sales. Those will come. Just don't get comfortable. But at the same time, again, masculine and feminine. The masculine part is the make decision maker do something. The feminine part is the care, concern, curiosity, care, concern, the compassion that you show to people, because they're going through things and they need some help, and speaking with them. I mean, because I'm telling you that karma can be a bitch or a blessing. So the idea is that you went out and helped somebody. I mean, Ella, you sent somebody my way. Perfect example. I mean, I didn't make an offer to them. They didn't seem like a good fit, but they were good people and I liked them. And, I was talking with them for a good minute. I went over a little bit and we were just talking and had a lot of fun. And I think he's going to do great with business. And, it wasn't about the money. And he had the money, as we both know, but it's like, it wasn't about that. It was about, listen, man, let me just talk to you and just give you some ideas that you can do and work out. You never know. Like you said, he might be someone to refer people to me, or you just put good energy out and it's going to come back and bring people your way. That's the important part.
Totally. That's such a good point, in the sense of you don't know who they know, you don't know, but there is this balance of having respect for the business. And one of the easiest ways, like if you're somebody who tends to lean towards discounting, or you kind of freak out when it comes to here's how much it is, just pretend it's not your business. Pretend you have a partner. Be like, look, I would love to knock off, 25% for you. Unfortunately, I've got a partner in this, and it is what it is. But here's whatever. But pretend you're selling for somebody else.
It's funny you mentioned that. I teach from a platform. I train from a platform called Charge More Money, because you're more valuable than you think. We hadn't really talked about that, but I do train from that. And one of the things I'm telling people is, listen, as far as discounts and working with people on that, the question becomes, if they're a good fit, there are 5 billion people online, and people will get it or get it. There's sometimes people who are telling you from a $1,000, $2,000 phone that they ain't got no money, or they got hard times, or that my husband, my wife, my blah. Yeah. Listen, if they don't want it as bad as you do, they're not the good fit. If you're trying to give them some options to work that out. So if people do have payment issues, you can work things out with people, but understand it's a level of commitment that you have to be too. So if people are asking for discounts, they say, hey, do you have a discount? Here's one of the ways you can do that. You can come in and say, listen, if you have something you want to sell for $5,000, make your regular $8,000. The best way to sell a $5,000 watch is next to a $125,000 watch. So the idea is that you make higher price points and tier points, where you have a 15,000, a 10,000, but you sell from the top down, the 15, the 10. You bring them down to the 8, and you say, listen, you go ahead and do this right now. 5,000 or 2 payments of 2,500. You can do it right now. Or if you can't do it right now, you want to get off the phone and go or think about it, that's fine. Think about it means no, which is totally fine. You can come back at the 8,000 anytime you wish. So they got a decision to make right now. Well, I still want the 5,000, 25,000, but I want to think about it. I say, well, you can't have life both ways. You can't have your cake and eat it too. You got a decision to make. It's a decision. It is based upon this. Well, I feel pressured. Well, if you feel pressured, hey, listen, that might be telling you either that you don't understand every part of this deal, and I would love to explain it, or I can just say, hey, listen, we let this go and you move on your way. The question is, how bad do you want it? It's not about trying to convince people into things. It's about them convincing themselves. I mean, you ain't got to convince me to have some cake. I love cake. You have to convince me to go and get some burger and fries. I love burger and fries. If you're in that mode and you're thinking about it, you don't have to be convinced on it. But if there's one of those people who feel they got to be sold on, or that they are prizing themselves, meaning that they're trying to give you a deal. No, you're not trying to give me a deal. The idea is this. There's a mindset to this where you're saying, listen, you want your dreams. I'm going to be able to help and make this easier for you. This is your outcome. This is what you're going to avoid is pain. This is what you're going to gain is pleasure. Do you want this to happen? Yes? Oh, yes. Okay, great. Do you want to go ahead and do it? No? Okay. So if you're solid on the no, let me clarify why the no, because I don't want to turn the no into yes. Well, I got to think about it. Or, well, I got to blah. Or, well, listen, that's fine. I'll clarify whatever you want right here. But if you want to move on your way, you want to move on your way. Like I said earlier, it's not about trying to get everybody in the door, because they may be saving you a lot of time with that no. Let me tell you, no, sometimes it's the most sexiest fucking thing you can hear in sales. It will save you a headache times 10. When somebody is telling you no, it's just like a relationship. Guys, you ever had somebody, or ladies, you ever had somebody say, you don't want me? Heed the person who says that. That might be telling you, thank you.
Hey,
Somebody
chose you a bad idea, I believe.
Yeah. So, I mean, the thing is that you're not going to be, don't worry about trying to close everybody. If they're asking for discounts and deals, I understand. But, I turn that around into, okay, so what you're really saying is you don't have all the money. So let's talk about what ways you want to be able to do that. But the question I want to, really confirm with you is how committed you are to the task. So I can't discount, but I might be able to do payments, or I might be able to take this time for this time. All right, do you really want to go through the options and we work that out? But, the idea is that I'm not going to discount my value, and neither should any of you. Don't discount your value, because remember what you're charging based on. You're charging based on the outcome. That's like saying, hey, I'm going to give you a discount on a $300,000 Rolls Royce. It's like, okay, what's the catch? You want to be able to understand what the outcome, especially if you're doing something in business or relationships or health. I always tell the health people, I'm like, listen, you got the baddest ass thing in the world. You telling people you're going to get them off medication or help them from dying or something, you don't want to discount your dying, So the idea is that you don't have to discount, but you can be creative with payment options.
You can be accommodating.
And even if that's not going to work, it's okay to walk away and say no. Like I said, everybody, you ain't in the everyone business. That's what I always tell people. We're not in the everyone business. You can charge premiums, but you're not in the everyone business. If you're charging $5,000 or $8,000 or $10,000 or $50,000 for something, think about the outcome of what you're doing. There's a lady right now, Ella, who charges she probably went up in price since, but she charges parents $45,000 to help them get a higher chance of their kids getting into Ivy League schools like Harvard and Princeton and Yale. So she starts working with them from like 9th grade on, sometimes earlier than that, where they are walking in, kicking ass on these tests. They're prepared with their papers. They're prepared with the whole process. They have been prepared to do this. So $45,000 for what? Because when they get out of school, they're going to have a 6-figure job, most likely. And and even if it's not a 6-figure job, if they're part of a major Ivy League, most known college, that opens up the door for them greater than any resume would. Totally. So if they're doing it right, depending on what they're getting into. But the idea is this, the parents don't think twice about that kind of money. It's like, we're talking about trying to get our kids into this. We're still working out the payments, but we're going to make it out. We're going to do it because you're going to work with our kids for years to do this. It's totally worth it. Totally worth it. Whereas some people go cheap and they mess it up. Let me give you an example of cheap. There's another guy who's charging $200 to $300 an hour to work with people to do the same thing. Why is he missing out versus the person missing out with the bigger plan? The bigger plan has the greater status and it makes it look serious. And then the bigger plan also has people who are committed to it in a more serious level versus somebody doing $300 an hour paying whatever they can. The people who are doing $300 an hour are not going to be committed. That's pizza money.
Yeah.
Versus, not pizza money, but you get what I'm saying. It's like next to no money versus somebody who's saying, I'm putting tens of thousands of dollars into this. We're working together and I'm committed. That's a whole nother level of commitment. And that's what you want as a client. Yeah. I'm sorry, I went off on a tangent, didn't I?
No, I think this has been a masterclass. I love it. And I think this is something that's really important. Actually, on the last episode I did with John Benson, he was talking about this, how he's like, people are just afraid of being salesy. And to me, that word has no meaning. What is that?
Here's what it is. You just don't know your value in the marketplace.
Yeah.
That's it. In other words, you're not, let me tell you something. Salesy is you're going up to somebody in a restaurant saying, hey, you want these 4 tires? They're really great tires. They're top of the line tires for your Lamborghini. And you're going up to a 5-star restaurant. And you're saying, here you go, right? Here you go.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, I'm having food. But if you went up to them and said, would they like to get the cheesecake and the coffee, it's going to sell. That doesn't mean later they don't want those tires. But salesy is not knowing your worth in the marketplace. In that marketplace, they're not looking for tires.
Yeah.
But let's say you are reaching out to them through the lifestyle magazines or through ads or through people who are in the Lamborghini club or part of the blah, blah, blah club. Would they spend money on those if you approach them right? Yeah. And would they spend major money on it? Yeah. It depends on you understanding what your outcome is. If you're a life coach, for instance, and you're working with a specific group, which you should, and quite frankly, stop calling yourself life coaches. You're not in everyone's business. Say, I help this group get this outcome. I help women who are suffering from anxiety, who are out of the corporate world, be able to live a life of pain-free existence and be able to perform better and be happier in their lives. I help Generation Z people who are trying to invest in crypto so that they can do so stress-free and be able to have all the resources for them. Now, you being able to do that in both cases, what does that cost on their life to have happiness in their lives and have stress-free so they can have a better life existence or be able to do well in crypto or any other investing in, let's say, Forex or whatever, and be able to do that and be able to earn money? What price do you put on that? I mean, if you put a price on Xanax or any of that other stuff, you talk about thousands of dollars at the very least. The idea is that, can you give them that without that? Can you give them that headache-free? If you know your value in the marketplace, not according to what they charge in the marketplace, but according to the outcome, then you are helping people out. Now, here's the catch, and nobody talks about this. The catch is, majority of the time, they're leads, prospect, sales. Leads are going to tell you no. They're not even going to sign up to anything. They're not going to book time. They're not going to do that. Then prospects who may be a good fit for you or may not be let's say the ones that aren't a good fit. You won't even make an offer to them. Some of you might, but it'll be a poor exchange. Let's say that. But let's say it's the people who are the right people for you. They're going to say no. They're going to say no. And that's okay. The majority of people say no. Like I said, getting 60% is not my thing. I want to be the 30 to 20%. Just like the Navy SEALs only has a certain amount of people who are going to be there. There's a filtering process. Only certain people are going to be astronauts and lawyers and doctors. Thank God. Engineers. Thank God. You don't want to see a C student engineer working on your shit in your building. Guarantee you. But the point is that these are no's. The majority of people are going to tell no. Nobody tells you that. The people who succeed the most fail the most, not because they fail the most, but because they're undaunted and never giving up. Your favorite athlete, no matter who it is, fail most of the time. That's why they have those averages in their career. What I'm saying to you is this: if there are people who are going to see you as salesy, they're not going to like your offer. They're going to say no. It might have been something you said. It might have been something you didn't say. It might have been the perfect offer to help them. You know that you could help them. It would be great, but they said no anyway. It's totally okay. Don't dig too deep into that. The point is that you're not being salesy. Think about it like this. Let me really take you to the online world. Is Amazon being salesy? They don't have an email list that's free. They don't have an email list where they say, get on my list, and then I have to nurture your ass to come buy something. They say, no, bitch, we're Rick James, bitch. Buy shit or kick your ass on. That's what they say, and that's what you should be doing. You should be saying, listen, I got something great for people who need this. It's not for everybody, but goddamn it, it's for somebody. And if you're that somebody, come on. There's 5 billion people out there. So the idea is that the majority of people are not going to be the good fit, and it's okay. And if they feel like, oh, you're trying to sell me, as long as you're not trying to really just push them and just talk to them and they want to get some help, I can't tell you the thousands and thousands of people I tried to help, and I knew that they were just going to go for the rest of their lives until they had a breakthrough, going through doing the same stupid shit and just repeat it. And they're going to look at you and they're just going to go, oh, you're being salesy. That's the thing. You're running a business. We're trying to sell. And the idea of selling is you're exchanging value, something valuable in the marketplace for money. And there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
Damn.
That's all I got to say about that. Damn.
I'm loving it. No, this has been like a masterclass, and I think that hopefully with anybody listening, this is what you need to hear today, because it's really true, and it's a mentality you have to wrap your head around if you want a business to do well, because it's what allows you to have respect. Like, I have a lot of friends, and I have a lot of friends in business. They still pay me if they want me to do work for them. I still pay them. I would never expect them to do anything for me for free. I'd be like, what? Like, you're not, come on, right?
But here's the cool thing is you have something of value, and there are times when you do give and share that value with your friends, but that's why you charge the premium prices you should, because charging that premium price sets the tone for when you do want to be able to help or gift people and help them when they're in hard times or whatever have you. And most people, the stuff I just said out of my mouth here, the stuff I had to learn over 17 years, now 17 years almost as a, next year. But here's the thing I'm trying to get everybody to understand is this: they don't teach this even at MBA levels. I looked at all of the curriculum for all the MBA levels. There's hardly anything on sales, if anything at all, on sales. That's like not having blood work and you're getting a doctorate. I mean, becoming a medical doctor. I mean, the idea is that we haven't been taught that. We've been taught, oh, sales is a bad thing. It's a pushy, it's a horrible thing. Sales is the lifeblood of every bit. We wouldn't, especially here in America, we wouldn't have this if it wasn't sales. If it wasn't for sales and money coming in, here comes my capitalist coming in. The sales going through. But here's the thing. Sales is the exchanging. I think it was Abraham said that. Abraham, he said something that sales was the exchanging of value, was the exchanging of enthusiasm from one person to another. The old saying, people don't want to be sold to, but they do, people don't want to be, they don't want to get sold to, but they do want to buy. And the reality is that there is an effect now through, whether it be through TikTok Live, or any of the other live series, your ability to talk to people and connect with them and get them in there where they feel you. That's why Home Shopping Network worked so well, because they began to see everybody out there. HGTV works so well because people, they see the person in there. That's why right now, Amazon, why is Amazon going live? One of the biggest selling things for Amazon is people going live. Not famous people, regular people. I know people right now who've done Amazon affiliates talking live, recommending their phone or recommending a light or a picture or something or a laptop. And they've sold over $1 million worth of stuff on Amazon and done 6 figures for themselves. Why? Because people buy from people. That's why, by the way, if you're talking about becoming an influencer, we hadn't talked about that, but influencer, you want to be an influencer. I'm trying to tell all the influencers, whether they're on TikTok or anywhere else, that influencer stuff comes down to this. These big corporations could spend money on their own ads on those platforms, whether it be Instagram or TikTok or anyway, why are they spending money with you as the influencer? Because you're following? No, because they know that people sell. If you're a person and you can connect and you get them laughing or talking about weird, quirky things, you could sell. You could relate to them. That's the whole thing. That's the big, big thing about it. If they're feeling you and they really see that you're a real person, they connect with you, that's the biggest thing. If that sells itself, that's what I really want everybody to understand. And the branding part of that is, how can you look like no one else? How can you stand out from 100% of the competition? Believe it or not, it's not hard to be the red in the middle of green. All you got to do, because everybody else in your marketplace, no matter who's watching this, you know darn well I'm not lying. Everybody's copying everybody.
Yep.
So if they're all copying everybody, how do you be the differentiator in the copies? How do you be the person who's not doing what they're doing? How can you say I'm not them without saying I'm not them? That's the real game. You find simple ways for people to give you money. You realize that you got to be the only person out there. It's about being the unicorn. That's what branding is about, being the only emotional solution. You find simple ways to marketing so you don't lose your fucking mind. So you can use your TikToks and your small micro content to share across social media. And then you realize there's a mindset with this. We are surrounded by people who work for other people. Stop listening to people who love you about your business online, because it's great. They love you. There's no doubt they love you more than I do and Ella does and everybody else does. But understand this, they're not equipped to do that. It's like you went to law school or a pilot. You became a pilot and learned how to fly. Your mama can't tell. Your mama love you more than than the pilot school, definitely. But if you don't listen to that pilot, you're going to take off nicely and land poorly. It's not going to work well. You need to listen to people who are in the game right now, who are doing this, who are in this. Stop listening to the normies. You took that thing out the back of your head, Matrix, don't put it back in, and stop sipping on the blue pill and take the red. And now that you're out of that universe of samenism of working for other people, realize people who work for other people, I love them, God bless them, but they are not equipped to give you what you need to get in your world. And that's what it really comes down to. So what do you need? What am I saying? I talked about monetizing and branding, standing out, and simple marketing. This fourth thing is mindset. You got to get up and go to bed with your dreams. You got to train your brain. You got to make sure you start cutting people off. I lost a lot of good friends that I love who just ain't in that life, who just nice people, but they don't have the mindset for this. So the reality is, I love them to the day I die, but can't be around people. I can't do epic shit with basic people. Can you? Fuck no. The point is that you got to take this to a whole nother level, man. You got to go. And what that means is that, think about LeBron don't hang around normie people. He love them, but it's like he hang around people who are trying to be on that level of achievement that he is. Same thing. You can be on that same, and I didn't even talk about sports. I'm talking about lifestyles and wealth building. The idea is you want to be around people who are thinking like you or even above you at that level. You know the old Jim Rohn saying, if you're the average of the 5 people, you need to get another 5 people. If they're not achieving and they're not moving. So going into the next 12 months of your life, ask yourself this. Who do I need to cut off? Who do I need to make a social media colonic on? And just start moving and making sure the messages are coming to me. Yeah, seriously. Some people.
Oh, there's some quotables in there. It's like,
yeah,
you can't do
it's a
epic
mindset.
shit. Yeah, you can't do epic shit with basic people. How many social media colonics do you need to do? There was so many quotables.
Every 3 months. I mean, literally, every 3 months you need to look at, okay, this person, what are they doing on a regular basis? Got love for them, but they're not moving. Move on. And you can still unfollow in most cases them and still, be connected to them in some social medias or other ones. You create another one. The idea is that you want to go to where you want to go and do what you want to do. You won't get there listening to people who are not in it, who are not doing it. It just won't happen that way. You can't you can't listen to 9 to 5 people if you want to be a sports star or an artist or an astronaut or any of that. Why would you do that here? You wouldn't do that. You don't need, if you're an entrepreneur, you need to listen to entrepreneurial thinking. Ask yourself this, before you go to bed and get into your subconscious, before you get into your world, when you get up, when your mind is at subconscious, how many motivational, inspirational, spiritual things, whatever rocks your boat, are you listening to? There's free stuff on YouTube. There's a billion groups on Facebook on the positive stuff. There's not the BS. Start, culling out your, start, looking at, purging your list of people in your groups. Start looking at the podcasts that you are listening to, here, great example, start looking at the apps that you have. I have the Calm app, the Motivate app. I love that Motivate app. So you're listening to stuff to get you going. Start paying attention to the kind of music you're listening to. Like, what kind of music has you jumping? I'm playing Mary's Walking. I'm walking. I'm just jamming, and it puts your spirits up and gets you going. And, pay attention to your moods and make. But the most powerful thing, pay attention to the toxic people who are in your life. It's not just negative people. There are time-banded people who always talk about themselves a million times and want to use your time. There's the victimization people, the energy vampire, needy victimization people, the need people who drain you. Then there's stupid people who keep repeating their mistakes over and over. There's indifferent people who don't care. They always complain, but they don't want to do nothing about changing their lives. And then finally, there's the ignorant person, the person who doesn't want to know, don't care to know. You don't need to be around those people. And they're sometimes the nicest people, believe it or not, but you just don't need, that's not feeding you. That's not pouring into you. If you're pouring into others, you need to have somebody and something pouring into you. And you're pouring, it's what I call math money mindset. You got to be pouring into yourself towards your dreams. You need to be fueled up. You need to be in your mind before you go to bed, before you get up, because that starts your day and that gets you ready to put your day down and get up and go to bed, and you find strength in what you're doing. So the fourth part of this stuff is mindset. The third one was marketing. The second one was branding. And the first one was what's the easiest way people give you money. But the fourth part, the mindset, is the part where you sit there and think about quitting. You think about losing your mind. You think about, oh, man, why am I doing this? And the last thing you need to do is listen to any one of those toxic people or any one of those normal working for a 9-to-5 job people, because they're going to embrace that shit. I had a client come to me talking about, I'm thinking about quitting. My mother has cancer. I'm like, definitely I want you to, look at your mom and help your mom with cancer, but sounds like you need the money too. So yeah, so you should keep going, right? He's like, well, I'm listening to my boyfriend. I was like, where your boyfriend work at? Oh, he works at blah, blah. Oh, for someone else. Okay. So you're listening to your boyfriend. You're getting ready to give up your dream because things got hard. Well, guess what? Life happens. Fuck it. Keep going. 2 tears in a bucket, motherfucker. Keep going. So you're going to either be in that world or you're going to listen to boyfriend X, who I'm sure loves you more than I do. But the point is that it's not about the love. It's about the dream. How bad do you want the dream? How bad do you want to get there? Because you can do all this other strategy stuff, but if you don't have that mindset in place, if you're not getting up, going to bed with your dreams, have that spiritual, and yeah, there'll be times you'll be down, but that's why you got the music. That's why you got the spiritual motivation. That's why you got that stuff going. And that's why you're around people who encourage you and say, stick with it, keep going, moving. You got to have the right people, because this game is rough, but the payback is your life. What you're really doing in business is you're buying your freedom. That's what I mean by freedom and all these other things, buying your happiness, because you're buying your freedom. Because the worst thing in the world you want to do is get to the point where you're 60, 70 years old and be feeling like shit. I had a chance to do all these things in my life and have a sense of regret as I'm getting older, or have no control over your life because of the money. Your money means control. And right now, There's more opportunity than there's ever been out there. With Web 3.0 meaning, Web 3.0 means more virtual reality, augmented reality, meaning you can throw on some glasses and see stuff you couldn't see without the glasses. They're making contacts for that now, Ella. Then you got the whole metaverse thing happening. You got crypto happening, which is incredible, because now you have these multiple currencies out there that are going and that are being backed and supported. And then you have the NFTs, where you're creating these digital coded things that you can put out there. It's not just a JPEG, it's a digital coded in there saying you can't copy it based upon the code, and you can sell it over and over. Whether you want to believe in it, don't believe in it, whatever, it's happening. When you got Chase Bank investing in this shit, it's happening. When you got the government investing in this shit, it's happening. They're afraid of crypto because crypto is kicking that dollar's ass, and it's happening. So either you can watch it, and you be part of it and learn it. And then when it comes to starting your own online businesses and advice, you can go and do that too. All right, I'm talking too much. I'm done.
No, it's awesome, dude. It's so true. Especially with the fact that, like, yeah, all this stuff is happening. Like, you might as well just get interested in it, see what sticks, and see what parts you can incorporate into your world. Because it's not going to be all of it, but it's like, check out different things, see what you're curious about, see what parts you can incorporate in, and but like, don't just not learn about it because it's new or you don't understand it. Nobody understands anything until they understood it, you know?
That's how I learned that. That's how I missed out on all that Bitcoin money, man. Because back in 2011, the marketing people, there was two things that I had a friend who was talking about. Two things. He was talking about Bitcoin. Everybody like, oh, digital Bitcoin, blah, blah, blah. Because it went up to $30 the first time. And then it sunk back down to $1. And people like, this is some bullshit. You know, and just like the bubble broke on Web 1.0, right. And you all laughing, this is bullshit, and you hear all these crazy stories about people with Bitcoin. I know people who became millionaires behind that. We had about a couple
like multi-millionaires.
Yeah. I mean, and they didn't even. I'm not even talking about the people who had it at 50,000, 60,000, when it up to 10,000 plus, and you done got a bunch of Bitcoins at $1 to $5 a piece.
Yeah.
And you got a couple of $1,000 worth of Bitcoins, you're a millionaire. Okay. A deck of, 8 figures. But then here's another interesting part about that, too. There was another guy who was talking about crypto kitties. And they were like, what's a crypto kitty? People selling digital kitties back and forth. This was about 6 years ago. And we were all like, yeah, that's interesting. He sold an online course in a marketing forum about it. We thought, yeah, digital kitties, ha, ha, ha. And now we got all this stuff going on with NFTs, man, with billions of dollars. I mean, it's real. So you can sit there and watch it or lose out. I missed out on it. Well, I didn't miss out on it. I'm going into ETH, but ETH, I remember I could have got ETH at 200. And this is after it sunk from like 700 or 800 or something. And
I said, what, like 6,000 US per ETH, right around there?
Yeah, it's like right now it's at 4,000 something level. I think 3,900. Might have gone under a little bit, but it's at about the 4,000 level, and this shit is like, I mean, what I'm saying to everybody is this: listen, it's still here. You might think you might have missed it. It might be overwhelming, but it's just like the old buy it one bite at a time. You consume it. The more you do it, the more you get comfortable with it, and guess what? You learn about it. It's like the old thing that marketers used to say about, if you want to be an expert on something, read 5, 6, 7 books, and you'll know more than 95% of the marketplace. Same thing here. If you just consume that information enough over the next couple of days and weeks, you become more powerful in it. And you might say, well, I don't want to be an expert or try to look like something I'm not. Don't. Here's the secret. Case studies. This is where so many people miss this. Yeah. You don't have to know a lot of stuff. You can do case studies even where you failed, and people will pay money for that. And they'll look at, like, big industry expert people will come to you because they want to know what you did. And remember, what you're helping people do is save them time. I had a young man, I think I was talking about it earlier, who he beat cancer, young dude, and he runs his own Shopify site. He sells his hoodies and stuff. He's a nice kid in his 20s, whatever. Here's the thing. He basically knows more about setting up a Shopify site than most people because he does it every day. This is what he lives and does. And all of the key tricks and blah, blah, blah that people can go to. I told him, make a case study. He made thousands of dollars with that case study because I told him, listen, all you're doing is showing people, how did you do this? I was talking to you before we started on here, the case study I started putting together for clients for advertising on TikTok. It was like, not a lot of people have a lot of content on TikTok, but here I am investing thousands of dollars in TikTok advertising and just taking a look at the things that worked that didn't. People would love that. If you have some experience that you've done or you're going to go and do, and even if it didn't work out, people will pay for that. They will connect with that. So you don't have to be the big guru. You can be the regular person. I mean, Mr. Rogers, as I talked about earlier, Bob Ross or Captain Gay, these were not child pediatrician expert, whatever you want to call them, child psychologists. They were regular people, and they had case studies that they shared with people, and they related to people. One last thing. I had a client who came out of Harvard and 10 years clinical study, the whole nine. And then there's another client I had who didn't have any of that shit. And the Harvard person has hardly any followers on TikTok, hardly doing anything on TikTok. The person who don't have any of that shit has over 100,000. Mm-hmm. What made them different? The action and their ability to be transparent and talk. The one who doesn't have any of that is not faking it till you make it. They're not trying to be salesy. They're just offering something that people love and they connect with. And if you can do that, you're going to win.
Oof. Okay, that's a perfect way to wrap this up. That's killer. Where can people find you if they want to hang out with you?
On the internet. No, DarrenMonroe.com. DarrenMonroe.com.
Awesome.
Look at there. Reach out. You can read about me. There's a contact information. I'm real. I'm reachable via the phone, the whole nine.
Yeah, his phone number is legit on his website. I've seen it.
Yeah, that's
you text me or fill out the contact form.
Yeah, you can text me. You can fill out the form. I'm gonna hit you back. And it's real reachable, touchable. And if you're overseas, you might have, sometimes you can't text me or whatever, but you can always, if you fill out the form, I'm hitting people back. I'm real. And that's what I'm telling all of you to do. Be real, reachable, and touchable, because that's the most money you will ever make right now, no matter how many big names are out there, because people are looking for a person. They're looking for somebody they can talk to, they can reach out to. That's the thing that's selling for them. It's not about funnels and challenges and blah. It's about you being a real fucking person and can be real, reachable, and relatable, and you'll make a lot of revenue.
I love it. Okay. DarrenMonroe.com. If you want to get in touch with Darren, I'm going to post his TikTok in the show notes as well as in the comments for where this is streamed live. And you can hang out on TikTok. His Instagram is at Darren Monroe, all one word. Go hang out with him. He's super cool, as you can see. You're going to enjoy it. I promise. And he's big and cuddly and black and just incredible. So that's why people love him. I just love it. All right. Thank you for being here, my friend. This was a fantastic conversation. Yeah, I know we went over time.
For a long time. Yeah. I know we talked a long time about doing this. Thank you for having me. This has been fun.
Oh, man, it's so good. All right, and thanks, everybody, for listening. We'll see you next week.
This broadcast is brought to you by WINJECT Studios. We are an all-in-one educational platform for podcasters that revolutionizes how hosts leverage content to increase engagement with listeners, downloads, and income. We come together to focus on community, collaboration, and collective impact. For more information on how you can interact directly with our hosts, access exclusive live content with offers you can't get anywhere else from our official partners, join our purpose-driven community by visiting www.winject.com. If you're ready to build a career doing what you love, then we're ready to see you there.